What's up, y'all? It's a sad, sad day today. The day that we didn't want to have happen has happened. We're gonna get into it. This one was it was a subdued episode. It wasn't the most entertaining, the most exciting episode of the season by any means, by any stretch of the imagination, but it's expected. It's towards the end of the season. I don't expect it to be too crazy right now, but we'll see. It possibly could be. But the season itself has been so good, but it's a little sad. It's gonna be a sad review, but thumbs up the video if y'all are new here. Please drop a comment. Thumbs up the video. That's number one. Drop a comment. Thumbs up the video. If you're new here, subscribe. Just engage. I love y'all so much for doing it this season. There's been so many of y'all that's come to me because of this show, and I appreciate it because I'm gonna be here. This show got renewed. I think they already got renewed for season 3. They've won the Emmys. This show gonna be around, and I'm gonna be around covering it because especially if the cast is like this, we're good. But enough of that. Let's go ahead and go. All right, so we return from the cliffhanger, and MJ reveals her vote, and guess who it is? It's Peter. So I was right at the end when I saw what I saw because the challenge that I saw, the little sneak peek that I saw on Twitter, it wasn't even a sneak peek. It was just a picture. That was a challenge that Phaedra was in, and I already knew what was going to go down, but we'll get to it. But Peter gets up, says that he's been all gas, no brakes the entire time, and has been a faithful to the end. And he said he tried to save them, and he leaves. Phaedra took a sip from her water, like, well, she was the only one in there that did not look like she was completely shocked about it, which was interesting. But everybody's looking down, everybody's looking upset. Trichelle's talking about how we tried to tell y'all, and everybody ends up getting up. Trishelle, Sandra, Kate, and Sheree, they're pretty much in the room talking. And Trishelle pretty much says, like, she's probably going to go. She's like, at this point, I'm probably going to go. She thinks it's Phaedra. She said it's too much evidence. But she does think that there are 2 traitors left. So John and CT, they're playing pool, and MJ ends up walking in. And CT pretty much says he's enjoying his last moments with John. Pretty much letting her know, I already know he's about to go. So it's at this point, he's thinking that John's about to go. Trichelle's thinking that she's about to go. At this point, those 3 know it's between those 2. CT has a shield, so he's not going to get voted out. And of the 3, CT would be the one that you wouldn't suspect Phaedra to go for first. So, of course, it's down to those 2. But MJ says the arguments that were made for Phaedra were weak and vague. She says she feels bad about Peter. And CT says, whatever, get out of my face with this. And he says that one of the clique of the girls, talking about the Bravo girls and Sandra, are a traitor. That's what he believes. He said the other ones are just kissing up to the traitors, trying to stay as long as they can. So CT ends up saying that Phaedra's been so good to him, but in his heart of hearts, he knows that she is a traitor. He doesn't like doing it, but he knows, I mean, it's a game. At the end of the day, he's there to beat the traitors. Phaedra is there to be the traitor at the end. So it's a game. Like, when it comes to stuff like this, you can't really look too deep into it when it comes to certain people. Trishelle makes it a little bit harder to look past the game aspect because she makes it a lot harder to keep it on the game aspect considering her track record. It makes it harder for her, even though she's got good game points. It's just how she goes about it. But Phaedra, Sandra, and Sheree, they're in a room, and Sheree ends up asking Phaedra how she feels about coming out of 3 banishments with all that heat on her. And she said it was overwhelming. And Sheree says, like, how do you feel about CT? Like, y'all were close, and this time he was really coming for you. And she said she felt like it was weird and it came out of nowhere. But Phaedra also says what's frustrating is that she doesn't. What did she say? She said what's frustrating is that if she doesn't defend herself, people will say that she's not defending herself. She could be a traitor because she's not doing anything. Like, she's not doing too much to really prove her point that she's not a traitor. And then she says on the other end, if she defends herself too much, they're like, oh, well, she's getting personal. So she's like, she's damned if she do, damned if she don't. So keep that in mind too, because towards the end, I'm gonna get to it. But Sheree says that she don't think that her girl Phaedra is a traitor, but she's not doing a good job at defending herself. I'm like, she's doing a good job. She could do a little bit better, but she's not doing a terrible job. She's doing a lot better job than you would be if you was in that position. Let's keep it real. But it's time for the murder. Kate and Phaedra go off. Kate feels bad for Phaedra because they're onto her. She knows they are onto her hot. And at this point, she's like, I'm gonna stick with her because it's my fellow traitor. Phaedra comes in and she's feeling the pressure. And Kate says that they were coming too hard on you. Phaedra and Kate, they start talking about how long-winded and dramatic John is. Both of them are annoyed with him. He was just doing too much in that last one in particular. He's been very dramatic the entire season, but this last one, he lost me too when he got to his reasonings as to why Phaedra is a traitor. It's like, just get to the point. But they talk about the support that she got from the girls and how CT ended up switching on her. Kate then says that they know, talking about John, Trishelle, and CT, know that it's a numbers game. So let's do the same thing. Like, let's play a numbers game. And CT is shielded, like I just said, and they know that. And they know it's now down to John and Trishelle on who to vote out. And in this moment, I'm like, should they have done that? Because maybe it could throw something. I was sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, should they go for the obvious? Should they throw like a curveball and take out somebody else from your side to make it look like, maybe it's not Phaedra? Because if Phaedra took out Sheree or if Phaedra took out somebody like Sandra, maybe they would take a little hit. I don't know. Maybe it would have taken some heat off her. I don't know. Maybe I'm I'm overthinking it, but that's just what was going through my mind in that moment. But whatever. So they make their choice, and they think that they made the right choice. So they pretty much said we have to be strategic about what we're doing going forward. Excuse me. We get to breakfast. Sandra, MJ, they come in first. They knew it was going to be them two in there first. MJ says that she does not want to vote out Phaedra, but she doesn't want to keep a traitor. And Sandra wants to be with the people who were with her at the beginning of the season. Like, she wants to be with the people who had literally rode with her the entire time. And then MJ cuts in and says, but our faithfuls. And she's like, yeah, I agree that our faithfuls. So Sandra says that she did what she wanted to by making friends with people so that they could keep her at the end. And she's almost there. Like, she's literally done what she's supposed to do, what she set out to do. And she's literally right here within striking distance of that money. So the knock comes at the door, and it's CT because he's loud as fuck with his knock. He's pretty heavy-handed. He's essentially the only man left besides John. And they knew it was him. Sandra knew for a fact it was him. And she tells him that after the banishment, she had told Phaedra that her name is going to keep coming up. And guess what? In walks Phaedra. CT ends up kissing her on the cheek. The girls end up welcoming her. Phaedra said that she was so disappointed in her confessional with CT switching up on her, but she knows it's a game. Like, it's game purposes at this point. So they have to play the game, and she's not taking it personal. But MJ asked Phaedra, this is where they starting to put her on the hot seat. She asked Phaedra, who do you think is not coming to breakfast? And she says, I don't know. I'm like, Phaedra, come on, you got to give something now. But Sandra says it's between John and Trishelle, and CT thinks that John is a goner. Phaedra says, hopefully, maybe it is Trishelle. I'm like, okay, I know for a fact she's not going home now, because if she said that, I know for a fact it's not. But MJ asked, what do y'all think about Kate? I'm like, okay, that was interesting. You're asking Kate now. Phaedra says that she thinks she's a faithful. CT does think that what did he say? CT does. Oh, CT asked her. CT asked. I'm so off, y'all. CT asked Phaedra if she thinks anybody is a traitor. At this point, he is literally picking her brain just to see if she's finally gonna get something, and she caught on to it. But she goes, well, there's got to be a traitor here, but she didn't say who it was. I'm like, Phaedra, you got to at least give him some. And he's noticing how she's not saying anything, which is suspect to him. But Phaedra also knows that he's doing that to let her know, I know that you were a traitor. I got you. And she's like, she just knows she got to do what she got to do. She has to figure out a way to get through the day, because if she gets through the day, she's good. Which is, it's hard. But as she's doing all this questioning is happening, she over there munching down. She was over there chewing. I'd have been doing the same thing. But a knock at the door. In comes Sheree. Of course, nobody is suspecting her. She's probably the only one that is not suspected of anything and hasn't been the entire season. But it's down to John, Kate, and Trishelle, and they know it's between John and Trishelle. MJ says that she hates to say it, but when Peter said, why would he murder somebody from his team every night? It was a good point. But did you not just say that the reasons that they had they weren't valid enough and didn't make enough sense to you, but you did? Okay, MJ. But she now thinks that Phaedra is a traitor. Knocks happen at the door, and in walks who? Trishelle and Kate, which means John has been murdered. MJ is now, she's convinced it's Phaedra. She knows it's Phaedra. Phaedra's so nonchalant with the whole murder thing. She over there eating as she always does. I'm like, it's so obvious now. Like, at this point, we just waiting for Phaedra to get sent out. We know it's going to happen. It's just too obvious at this point. I'm like, could Phaedra do anything to try and change it? Yes, but it's like at this point, these people know that she is a traitor. And it's like, we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it. There's a certain moment at the end where I literally thought she was going to say that she was a traitor, but we'll get to it. John is reading his letter. Actually, before we get to that, they had the flashback to the murder, and they was pretty much talking about how he talks too much. And Kate said that she knows that he misses the evening news, so that's why she's gonna send his ass back home. But they decided to take him out. He's reading his letter, and he's saying that he's not surprised because he knew Phaedra was not gonna leave him in that house when she knew that he was onto her. Duh. But Trishelle is upset because her group is gone. The only person left is CT that she has faith in. And she knows it's because of Phaedra, and she's trying to figure out how to sway MJ, Sheree, and Kate to vote Phaedra out. They ended up toasting it up for John. CT is the only man standing. Everybody else is women. And Kate ends up asking, how many traitors do you think are left? MJ says 2. Sandra says worst case scenario is 3. And Sheree goes, oh my gosh, not 3. I'm like, Sheree she is so lost. But Alan walks in to confirm the death, lets him know about the mission, and CT is loving the fact that he is the only man in there with all them women. It's a man's dream. But they disperse, and Phaedra and Sandra, they go outside talking, and Sandra pretty much says, no matter what happens, Phaedra is going to get the blame for everything. We all knew that. But she loves Phaedra, even though she knows that she could be a traitor. And she says she's won Survivor 2 times because she's been tight with the people that can literally take her to the end and get tight with the people that she needs to where when it's time to strike at the end, she's going to be able to do it. And that's literally how she won both seasons of Survivor. If you watch, you know, she ain't lying. And the same thing's happening here. She's super close to Phaedra, knowing that she's a traitor. And it's gotten her so far as well. She didn't know it, but I feel like Sandra knew it. Sandra's playing like she don't know. I feel like she did. Sandra's too smart, and she's played too many games to not know it. But MJ is talking to Kate and Sheree, saying that the Bravo girls have to be loyal, but don't turn your head the other way. You got to pay attention to what's in front of you. And she says tomorrow's going to come down to either winning or losing everything that's in that pie. So she says to Sheree that they both know that they have to vote out Phaedra tonight, right? Sheree looked at her like, the fuck are you talking about? I was like, Sheree is like so lost. But MJ says that Phaedra maintains her cool in stressful situations, which is why she has to go. And Sheree says that she hopes Phaedra would have her back in the end. So Kate then says she's thinking about Sandra. She throws a curveball. MJ is like, oh, okay. She's paying attention to Kate because she thinks Kate is a lot smarter than she is. So anything Kate was saying, she was biting onto it. So Sandra wasn't even on MJ's mind, but just Kate saying that brought it to her mind. So she's eating up what Kate's doing. Kate literally got her wrapped around her finger. So it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this plays out for her. But she says that they all see Phaedra and Sandra because they're all outside. And Phaedra and Sandra are down because the 3 of them are on a balcony and they're looking down at Sandra and Phaedra, who are playing the oversized chess game. And they're like, look at them. They're down there plotting it now, talking about the 2 traitors plotting it down. So as they're doing that, Kate is like, I'm doing everything in my power to protect the queen, talking about Phaedra. I was like, good, do that. Do what you got to do. But CT and Trishelle, they're in the house. They're the only ones left in the house. So they're in the house talking. And they know that it's the Bravo girls. Like, they're literally going to be stuck together. They're keeping Phaedra. They know it's just them 2 against them. And they have to find a way to get numbers on their side to get Phaedra out. CT thinks that MJ and Sandra won't vote for Phaedra. He says Sheree has that blind loyalty to her, and they just cannot read Kate. So CT says the only person Trishelle says the only person that she's confident in and positive in and not being a traitor is CT. And the only person that she knows will actually listen to what she's saying and do what she wants them to do. So she gets up and says, I want to go out here and call these girls out. So she goes outside and CT says, I'm coming after you. I want to see it. So she goes outside and says, "Can I join the exclusive group?" I'm like, "Oh, now you see how it feels because you was the exclusive group and y'all didn't want nobody to come join y'all." But it's so interesting now. Granted, she's the reasoning behind why she's upset is valid, but it's just it's funny, it's ironic. But they hella confused too. And she comes up saying, like, "Are y'all ready to talk logic and reason?" Like she looking at them like, "Are y'all ready to stop being stupid now? Are y'all trying to win this game?" That's what she low-key was doing. But Kate says, "Are you okay?" And I was laughing because the way she said it was like, "The fuck is wrong with you?" But Tracel says, "No, I'm not. I'm actually not okay." And she says, "Y'all know who the traitor is at this point. Like, you keep her around hoping that one of y'all is going to be the lucky one to get picked to go to the end." Like, she feels like they made up their mind, and even though they know she's been spot on the last two banishments in regards to Phaedra being a traitor. And MJ said there's no way in hell she's going to let a traitor get to the end and take the money. And she pretty much kind of like takes Trishelle down because Trishelle was irritated with the fact that them seemingly not wanting to even listen to them. But for her saying that, they kind of made Trishelle like, okay, finally, I can do something now. So Kate says that she knows Trishelle wants to vote out Phaedra. She's like, basically like, "Yeah, we got it. We know. You've been saying it the last 3 weeks. You don't have to keep telling me." And of course, Kate's saying that because she's a traitor as well. She needs to have Phaedra in the game with her to help. But she was frustrated, Trishelle, because she brought up points and she doesn't know if they're trying to get a traitor out. All right, so we get to the mission. The mission, $30,000 is up for grabs. I'm just going to give it to you in the most layman's terms. It's a pile of dirt. They got gold nuggets that cost each $150. They have to take it across this river, I guess, water. And they got all these little platforms out there that they have to hop across to get across to the other one. And they have to drop the money into, it's like an equalizer. There's $30,000 on this side, and they have to balance it out to get the money. So if they equal it, they win all that money. But if they lose the gold in the water, it's gone. And then there's one shield. It's the final shield of the season up for grabs, and whoever finds it and places it over there. So they have to hop over there and place it in that little whatever. They're safe for murder. So they begin. They're digging. Phaedra is too glamorous for all that. She finds the gold and she tries to hop across first. She gets stuck on the fourth one, falls in the water. They continue digging. CT's starting to get irritated with MJ during the digging, calling her a sabotager. She ends up finding the shield. Trishelle's like, the shield was literally right there by her. And MJ, she gets halfway across, falls in the water. Sandra ends up having $900. She goes, falls at the third one. Sheree goes across, falls at the fourth one. MJ goes again and falls. Like, everybody's falling. Kate took over. She pretty much took off. She was the first one to take off and get somewhere, but she failed too. Like, it's like, damn. And they have 15 minutes left. So at this point, Trishelle and CT, the two challengers, are the two left to try and get some shit done. Trishelle had $900. And she gets it going. She figures it out. She's like, all you got to do is run. I'm like, damn, was that hard to realize? Like, I was sitting there thinking, just run across. Like, run as fast as you can. Because the more you stop, the more you're giving this shit chances to, like, pretty much wobble. And if you can't keep your balance, you don't have the momentum to get across. So you got to keep running. She figured it out. CT figured it out. They go back and forth, just getting the money across. And MJ ends up going again to finally finish. And it's just so coincidental. Like I said, as all these challenges seem to be, 6 seconds left, she finally gets it across and gets her shield in just in time. I'm like, okay. But they won $28,350, and the prize pot is now at $158,100, I believe. And MJ had won her shield. So they get back to the castle. Trishelle's pretty much asking who they think is the traitor. Of course, you already know who they think. Sandra says that she thinks it's Phaedra, and Sheree is hoping that it's not Phaedra. And they're sitting in the breakfast room. Phaedra is walking around looking for people. Yet again, she is by herself. I'm like, Phaedra, you should know right now, but that could not be more of a clear sign that you gone, girl. Like, they're trying to get you out of here. But MJ and Kate, they're outside talking, and CT asks to join, and they say, yeah, come on. So Kate is now trying to figure out a way to get the heat off of Phaedra. And she says, you save Phaedra for the final day, because you already know she's a traitor. Would you rather roll the dice on Sandra because you know there's two. Everybody thinks that there's two traitors out here, and people are starting to think it's Sandra. So, do you want to roll the dice on Sandra now, or do you want to roll the dice when it matters, where it's either win or lose? So, she brought up a pretty valid point there. Like, this is something that can make them really think. So she's like, "Do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it when there's 250 racks on the line? Like, let's be real." I was like, "Okay, Kate over here is strategic." But MJ says she doesn't trust Phaedra the most, but she's also suspicious of Sandra. I'm like, is she so? Kate literally got her misted, like misted, wrapped around her finger. But she says that Sandra has shown traitor signs, and I'm like, when? When has Sandra ever shown traitor signs? But okay, MJ. But Trishelle, Sandra, and Sheree are literally watching them through the window. And Sandra is noticing that Kate is doing most of the talking. She is super duper like gung ho, just going. And you could see what they were showing. I don't know if they were seeing or at least watching it at that moment, but you could literally see her mouth traitor as she's talking. So Sandra's watching it, and Sandra's already suspicious of Kate. And she said, "I'm gonna go up there and ask him if I can go join and see how they act whenever I come over there and if they stop talking." So of course Trishelle and Sheree's like, "Go over there and do it." And she says she don't know what Kate's intentions are, but she's gonna look very intently on how she acts in this whole situation. So on cue, she goes over there and asks to join, and MJ looked like a deer in headlights. I'm like, a way to make it obvious. Kate looked annoyed, and CT ends up welcoming her over. And Trishelle and Sheree, they sitting there watching. Kate says, "Do you want to roll the dice tonight?" To Sandra. "You want to roll the dice tonight and figure out who the number two is and banish them tonight?" Sandra said, "Okay, and who is that?" Kate was like, "I don't know." I was like, what is she gonna do in this moment? That's what I was sitting there thinking. I'm like, what is she gonna do in the moment, and what can she do to where it doesn't look suspicious to them two? But that's what she said. She's like, "I don't know," and I was like, "Oh shit, here we go." But Kate says that if she had to choose, she just cannot think of anybody. It's hard. I'm like, you are in over it, Kate. But Sheree goes and pulls Phaedra. This is interesting. Sheree says she tried to protect Phaedra, but they are gunning for you. Phaedra says, "Of course." And Sheree says, "Who else could it be if it's not you?" Phaedra's like energy. You can tell Phaedra's like, you can tell she was like, do I lie to her or do I not? Because you know they had that close relationship due to their history. And it's just like, at this point, she don't want to lie to Sheree, but she has to play the game. And Sheree says, "So who could it be?" And she says it could be CT. Sheree says Sandra. And she asks how she feels about that. And I feel like she did that because she knows that Phaedra and Sandra are also close as well, as she is with her and Sheree, as she is with CT. So it kind of like would say, okay, if she says no, it might make you think, okay, then why are you protecting her? But Phaedra said, yeah, she's a silent assassin, but she loves her. And Sheree says her job is to get the traitors out and they have to find them, but she needs Phaedra to help her help her. She said, "Phaedra, I need you to help me help you in this game." And Sheree says, I'm going to ask you to look me in my eyes and you tell me, are you a traitor? She flat out asked her in her face. And guess what Phaedra did? Phaedra sat there and I was like, she is about to tell her that she's a fucking traitor. Phaedra lied in that woman's face. She lied in her face and said, "No, I'm not." I was like, damn. But it's a game. It is a game. Don't get mad. It's a game. But she says it's tough. It's tough to keep that information from her because she doesn't want her to think that she's trying to betray her. But their relationship is more important in the game. But it's a game that they're playing. Like, essentially, like, you have to play the game. But we get to the roundtable, and this was the most uneventful roundtable of the season. I was so sad. But Trishelle asked to speak. She says they're there to find the traitors, and it's one of their last times to do it. Every faithful has continued to say that they're faithful, and the only ones that don't do it whenever it's time is a traitor. She said last night somebody had said Phaedra's name, and when they said her name, she was just quiet. Phaedra says that is the craziest argument in the world, and she's never heard something so ludicrous. MJ says she didn't think that she was a traitor, but because of the nature and her nature and her disposition, the way she's super duper cool, can handle pressure, and what she's taken in life that makes her think that she's a traitor. Sandra then says it's hard for her to say anything to Phaedra in regards to her being a traitor because of their relationship, how they've grown to be friends, but they all know that at the end of the day, they're playing the game. And it's hard, and it's going to kill her to say that she's a traitor, but she feels like she is a traitor, and all the signs are there, and it's just hard to not see it. And at this point, you could tell Phaedra just feels defeated at this point. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, how would I react in the situation? It's like, what more could you say? All these people already know that I'm a traitor. There's nothing I can say at this point that can change your mind. And especially with the people that she's closest with actually showing her now, I do believe that you are a traitor. It's like, damn, what else can I do? What else can I do? But Phaedra says it's a game. She hasn't done anything for her name to get written down, and they don't have nothing concrete against her. And Sheree says that she doesn't want to believe it. Phaedra then says the two of them have been friends for 30 years. She's always been transparent. And Sheree says that you have, she asked her, do you have anything else that you want to say? Anything you want to give us as faithfuls? And Phaedra says she's just exhausted. She said it gets to the point where you get tired of fighting. I feel it. Like she got the heat the whole time. And it's like at this point, what more can she say to defend herself? I don't know. But Kate ass gets annoyed because essentially she is laying down. And I see where Kate could be upset because she's trying to save Phaedra. She has tried to save Phaedra this whole episode. But she also got to take into account there's not much more that Phaedra can do. But then again, she's looking out for herself as well because she knows that she's the only traitor left in the game. And she's like, at this point, I need you. So that I see both sides. But it's time to vote. Kate is over there writing aggressive as fuck. I was like, why is she writing so aggressive? Why is she writing so aggressive? She was. And Sheree even looked over her like, damn, girl, you okay? Like, what the fuck is going on? But they start voting, and Sheree ends up voting first, and she votes for Phaedra. She says she's happy they got the experience together. She's trying not to get emotional. She enjoyed them playing the game together, but she just believes that she is a traitor. Kate votes for Phaedra, and she says because there's not a person at this table besides her that she could even stomach voting for because she's more selfish than skillful, and it's not fun to play games with people that play that way. If I didn't watch a lot of competition shows, I'd have been ready to punch her in her face. I would have. But it's a game, and at the end of the day, you have to. I see how people would take it personally. It might take it personally because it did seem like it was a jab that just was not necessary. But you got to think about Kate. Kate has spent the whole day pretty much taking the heat off of Phaedra. So at this point, she has to kind of decoy it because at this point, it's going to make her look even more suspicious. So she's got to decoy it to get the attention off of her as a potential traitor by her being upset with how the traitor, Phaedra, has played the game. So that's where I see it. It did come off harsh as fuck, but Phaedra was like selfish, and Kate was like, yeah, more than skillful. I was like, damn. MJ voted for Phaedra. Phaedra voted for CT for girl power instances. Sandra votes for Phaedra because she has to play with her head and not her heart. Trishelle votes for Phaedra, of course, because it's become clear, and she says she feels like she'll leave with her head held high. And CT votes for Phaedra because she came in the opposite of who she is in real life, and she's been the best traitor that they've seen yet. And honestly, she right up there with Sari. Phaedra played the hell out of this game as long as she could, and she should be proud of that. But they both started smirking at each other. Phaedra ends up getting banished. She goes up and reveals, this was funny. She said, I am the most fabulous faithful. And when I tell you, they look like, what the fuck? And then she said, faithful traitor. I'm sad. Phaedra I wanted her to win. And I hope I didn't scream so loud in there. But yeah, that's it. Like, that's it. She's gone. She said she hopes that there's no hard feelings. She's done something that she's never done before. She enjoyed the experiences, the best experiences she's had, and she wishes them luck. So she also says that she's not mad at Kate, even though it did feel personal. But she's ready to get the fuck up out of Scotland and go the fuck home and go to a spa. But they cheers at the bar that they've gotten another traitor out. Sandra ends up going and asking Kate about the selfish thing that she said to Phaedra. And she says that she realized the pattern of the murders, and she said that was just gross. MJ said that Phaedra was there for herself and not the team, obviously, because she's a fucking traitor. Like, why are you trying to make this a personal thing? But Sandra said Kate attacking Phaedra made her uncomfortable. And she said it's just not adding up and it's looking like a traitor. You're not wrong. It's going to be interesting, but Sandra is right where she always wants to be. And when you get her in a final, watch out. But it's funny, we got Sandra Survivor winner 2 times. You got CT the challenge winner, I want to say 4 times. Trishelle's played the challenge numerous times. And then you got MJ, clueless. And then you got Sheree, clueless. And then you got Kate, the only traitor left. So we'll see what happens. Hope y'all enjoy it. Thumbs up the video. Drop the comments down below. I know we got the final, and I know we got a damn reunion next week, too. I don't like how they doing the double. Because I got to watch 2 hours worth of TV and do notes. I'm probably going to do the reunion Friday. Honestly. But yeah, look for the finale next week. But I'll see y'all next week. I'm going to sleep. Peace.